In a significant diplomatic shift, President Donald Trump's recent phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin has sent shockwaves through Europe and Ukraine. This call marks a pivotal moment, as Trump appears to be welcoming Putin back into the fold after years of U.S. isolation of the Russian leader. For 3 years, Putin has been treated as a pariah by the U.S. However, Trump's approach signals a potential thaw in relations, raising concerns in Ukraine. A former senior Ukrainian official expressed confusion over Trump's apparent concessions before negotiations even begin, specifically regarding NATO membership and territorial integrity. This official remarked that such moves seem like gifts without any bargaining, which is uncharacteristic of a seasoned negotiator like Trump. Ukrainians fear that Trump prioritizes relations with Russia over their sovereignty. Russian officials have made it clear that fighting will continue unless their demands are met, indicating that any talks might be a facade. Tatiana Stanovaya, a political analyst, noted that Putin is prepared for negotiations to fail, using any concessions to portray a facade of success. Following the call with Putin, Trump reached out to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky emphasized the importance of Ukraine being included in discussions, stating that any agreements made without their input would be unacceptable. He insisted that meetings should prioritize Ukraine and involve European partners to ensure a fair resolution. European leaders echoed Zelensky's sentiments. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius criticized the Trump administration for making public concessions to Putin before negotiations had even started. Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur also cautioned against giving Russia any advantages prematurely. While the situation remains precarious, it is not yet a catastrophe for Ukraine. Trump's stance has been consistent, and U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reiterated that a return to Ukraine's pre-war borders and NATO membership are unrealistic goals. Hegseth warned that pursuing such objectives could prolong the conflict and increase suffering. Many in Ukraine have already recognized that NATO membership and reclaiming all territory by force may not be feasible. Instead, they seek security guarantees to prevent further Russian aggression. Continued military support from the U.S. and Europe post-ceasefire is seen as crucial, with Ukraine's strength relying on its own military capabilities. Zelensky has proposed a Plan B in case NATO membership is off the table. This plan involves heavily arming Ukraine's military with Western weapons and establishing a presence of European peacekeeping troops. Hegseth suggested that a demilitarized zone could be policed by both European and non-European forces, although this would require a significant troop commitment that may be challenging for European nations to fulfill. As the Munich Security Conference approaches, the stakes are rising for Ukraine. Vice President J.D. Vance's meetings with Zelensky will be critical for establishing Ukraine's minimum requirements in negotiations. The recent call has undeniably bolstered Putin's position, bringing the U.S. closer to his side and complicating the landscape for Ukraine. In summary, Trump's call with Putin has reshaped the dynamics of the ongoing conflict, leaving Ukraine in a state of uncertainty and concern. The implications of this diplomatic shift will continue to unfold as both sides prepare for what lies ahead in negotiations.